And we're live, streaming from the footsteps of New York City. We are Music Matters with Jason Tramm. And thank you so much for joining us for a unique podcast community where we explore the triumphs and challenges of the performing arts world as seen through the eyes of distinguished colleagues. Thank you for helping us grow. We just hit 1,600 subscribers, and we grow every day thanks to you. Please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube and smash that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on our upcoming guests and topics. To see our over 200 past episodes, go to our website at www.jasontramm.net. You could also join our mailing list there, and we do not spam, so join us and you can learn more about our guests and our topics. Here on Music Matters, we feature guests from a variety of genres, and we talk about the issues of the musical world, and I just love these conversations, so thank you so much for joining us. We have a great show for you today. We have the members of the Light Opera of New Jersey. We have the founders, Bill and Lauran Corson, and we also have the board chairman, Heath Weisberg. I'm also the executive director of the Light Opera of New Jersey. It's a new role for me, and I'm so excited to talk about this company that is doing such important and good work. Let's start with Lauran. Lauran, tell us about your artistic journey.
So my musical journey, my mom pushed and was a bit of a stage mother, but she supported me as my father did and really wanted me to get out there and to have the best experience. So I spent 8 summers at Aspen Music Festival. And my very first opera in the chorus was La Traviata under James Conlon. So that was a good way to start. So I made my way from Aspen to University of Michigan. I got my bachelor's and my master's in vocal performance there. I did a number of operas there, Rigoletto, Mary Warren in The Crucible, among others. And then I made my way to Manhattan, and I was fortunate to get a scholarship at the Juilliard School in their opera training area, and did 2 AOC productions, Lisette in La Rondine, and the very difficult role of the Nightingale in Le Rossignol with George Mester conducting. Wow. So that was really a wonderful experience. I was lucky to join with Columbia Artists for a number of years. And some of my favorite roles are Olympia, Daughter, Adele, and of course, Gilda probably still remains my favorite.
Such great repertoire you got to sing, and I think it's wonderful that you had the career and then you got to pass that on to many people through your work with Light Opera of New Jersey. So tell us about transitioning from the professional career into starting your own thing.
So I joined the New York Gilbert and Sullivan Players, and we actually were doing a small thing in the park up near 110th and Broadway. And guess what? I met my husband. And
a showmance. We got to love showmances.
So I was singing something from Pirates, Mabel, and there was a gawking, lecherous man that was out really close to me and making all kinds of comments, and I got kind of skeeved out, and so I moved to the back of there were pews, right, Bill? It was
it was sort of a stone wall. There was some step up. I made my way close to her because I wanted to be close to her because I thought she was cute. So I made sure I was nearby.
So I said, can you walk me back? So I asked him if he would walk me back to my apartment at 110 in Broadway, which he did. And we came up and had a nice chat. And I guess he liked me enough that he wrote down the phone number on his hand. And as they say, the rest is history.
There's no paper around, so I had to write on something. So I wrote it in my hand real quick.
We moved to New Jersey over a few years. We had 2 beautiful children, and I was continuing a course in studios, teaching voice, and we were about 1990 something. We decided to do a workshop. So I'm going to let Bill take that over and sort of expand on
Tag in, Bill. And I love this. I love this how art and life intertwine to make an incredible company that's so strong even today. And what a great story.
Well, music is a big part of our lives, Jason. It always has been since my youth too. But just to continue Lauran's story, Lauran had about 40 voice students at one point per week, and that was a lot for anybody in those days. And
it's a lot for anyone now.
Yeah, well, it's a lot. Yeah, I guess that's true. Should have said that way. We moved from Chatham. We had a nice house on Myersville Road in Chatham, and then we moved to Basking Ridge. And I have a background as an Episcopalian, so we went to the Episcopal Church in Basking Ridge, which was really wonderful because we wanted our children to have a nice place a good place for spiritual upbringing. And we discovered when we got there, well, the choir is not quite as strong as it might have been. I think 4 altos, a soprano, 1 baritone, or something like that was the choir. And not to pick on St. Mark's, but we saw at the time, this is 1994, mind you, that they could use a little boost. So Lauran and I thought, well, what we could do is we could put together a little fundraiser. We're all into fundraisers, right? So what do we know? Well, we knew operetta because we met doing Gilbert and Sullivan. I have a strong musical theater background, and Lauran obviously has a strong opera background. So we kind of met in the middle, and we decided to do a concert. It's going to be a concert, Jason, not a show, just a concert. And we're going to stand up there and sing some things from Deflator Mouse, from Mikado, and a couple other shows. And it was going to just be very simple. We had a couple of our friends who were real professionals, the Huffs, to come sing with us, Karen and David Huff, and they provided the solid center of the process. And when we were rehearsing, Lauran goes, we should probably have some costumes or something. We're doing sections from the Mikado. Let's get some kimonos. So Lauran started asking everybody in the parish, do you have a kimono? Do you have a kimono? And everybody kind of came up, and we found some costumes. And then my friend Charlie Ross, who's a brilliant barbershop singer, he was in the chorus. And he said, Billy, you really should have some lights. We could get some theater lights in the room here in the parish hall. I said, well, gosh, I guess that's okay. Can you do that? And yeah, my friend so-and-so can run it. I can't remember the guy's name. And so we had lights. And Jay Barry, who's from Trilogy, who runs the Trilogy Repertory Theater with her husband, Hank, who are fantastic friends of ours. I said, can we get a stage? So they had these stage platforms we put in, and we had lights, and we had costumes. And suddenly we had this. It wasn't a concert anymore. It was a show. And suddenly I'm saying, well, go over here and do this, and you should move this way. And suddenly I'm directing. I never directed before. I didn't know what I was doing. But suddenly we just had a show put together. And then because we did repertoire that is a lot of operetta from the earlier part of the 20th century, a lot of our audience who are more mature really recognize and identify with that music. How often do you get to go around in Basking Ridge, New Jersey, and hear Sigmund Romberg and Victor Herbert and things like that, Rudolf Frimmel? So we did that kind of music, and we had a wonderful producer, Rita LaJoy, a good friend of ours, and she had sold tickets for our Saturday night concert / show, and we filled up. And we said, oh my gosh, we should have a second. Let's add Friday night. And so we had Friday night, and it filled up. And mind you, this little hall, we squished almost 100 people into this hall in order to do the show. So here was our first show. We didn't know what to call it. We decided to do it in September because we figured that was the time of month when nobody else was doing a show. And so Rita said, why don't we call it September Song? Well, that's a good idea. We call it September Song. 26 years later, we're still calling it September Song. So it's been a great triumph.
We have a comment from the audience. Reverend Ronald Cadmus, who's a wonderful a preacher and a author and a poet. He wrote that you'd be a dream for any parish, both of you.
Well, thank you very much.
I also want to just throw in that originally, the first 10 years, we did 4 sections of highlights, and it always went operetta, Gilbert and Sullivan, opera, and musical theater. And we continued that for a very long time. And I think the wonderful part about that is you have all of the genre there. People go out and if they didn't like the first section, I always say, wait for the second section because you will eventually like it. And it also gave opportunity to our company members to do parts so that one year they would do a big solo, then they would, in the next section, they would do, ensemble. So there was something for everyone. And I think Bill and I both worked really hard to make that happen.
And sit around the kitchen table and Lauran would say, oh, he could do this. And what do we have for this person? And we kind of just make it up and fit it all together. And so it was like a puzzle that always was fun. But we really made sure that everybody got a little piece of action, whether at least it was some dialogue or at least it was a short solo or something, so that everybody felt that they belonged. And that's sort of the repertory company that Lauran syndicated, I think.
Beautiful.
And I think that's why we were successful and people stuck with us. And we have so many members right now that started in I can think of several. 1995. 1995.
Wow, 1995. It's such a challenge to build a company and to maintain a company, and you guys have done such a great job with that. And over the years, you've culminated into larger scale productions, like the ones at SOPAC, musical theater, fully staged musicals, The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Ragtime, and really highly acclaimed too.
It kind of evolved slowly, but that's where we've kind of ended up at the higher level, I think, Jason, to be honest with you. But along the way, we did a lot of interesting things. Lauran, we do these operettas and musical theater, and Lauran says, yeah, but I'm an opera singer. So why don't we do, I said, why don't we do highlights of opera shows, opera productions? So we created something we called Operageous, a little thing I coined. And Operageous was very similar to September Song, except we did Rigoletto, which is Richard Strauss. We mixed in some Mozart, and we had maybe 3 or 4 different genres of opera. Did a lot of those up in Madison. So that was very encouraging, exciting. And along the way, my background in college is a cappella singing, male a cappella singing. The Colgate 13 was my big passion. I actually got to be leader of the Colgate 13 when I was a senior at Colgate University, which is fantastic. So we sponsored these a cappella concerts, which doesn't really fit necessarily to opera, but like I was really into this stuff. So this is what we did. We'd have these a cappella concerts, invite other schools coming, people, the singers from Princeton, from other colleges around the area, and made a great trip of doing that too. And in addition to that, we would put together these cabarets. Lois Buser, Karen Cantor, and other friends like that would design these cabarets all on Cole Porter, or all on Rodgers and Hart, or all on Gershwin's, like that. And it just became, we kind of did a little piece of everything. But the core always came back to that September Song and the kind of people that we work with. Lauran likes to say we only work with nice people. And if they're not nice, they don't come back.
I say that a lot. I book a lot of orchestras and I work with a lot of singers. It's so important that the team is well constructed because when times get hard and when you do music, it can be very challenging, just technically, and it really helps to have good people on the stage with you.
It does. And I think that expanded to, in some of our middle years, we were able to do some shows out at the Pleasant Valley Park in Basking Ridge that are sponsored by the Park and Recreation Department. But our friends at Trilogy Repertory Company were really, really solid in keeping that going. Jay Barry directing and producing, and her husband, Hank Barry, doing a fantastic job out there. So we admired them so much. And Jay said, well, maybe you should do a show too. We could have you guys do a show there. And I said, yeah, like what? Why don't you do the Pirates of Penzance? Yeah, I think I know that one.
Familiar one.
We did that, and we ended up doing 5 shows over like 10 years there. We did Mikado and HMS Pinafore, and we did some musical theater pieces too. We did Footloose, and we also did Thoroughly Modern Millie, which is one of our really, really fun and challenging pieces. So we've had our fingers in a lot of different places, and then for a long time, Jason, we were Corson Studios, and then we evolved into be calling light opera. So we should call ourselves something local, like Ridge Light Opera. And if you live in Basking Ridge, everything's Ridge, high school, Ridge this, Ridge that. So we were Ridge Light Opera, not Basking Ridge Light Opera, Ridge Light Opera. And that was fine. And then there was a point where my wife and I turned to each other one morning and said, we don't do it now, we're never going to do it. Let's change our name to Light Opera of New Jersey. So we took the Ridge out of the name, and we kind of boosted everything up in terms of production value, quality, getting more professional singers. And we came to a point, frankly, where everybody was paid. You could say, we're professional, we pay everybody. Well, that wasn't really the issue. The issue was everybody deserved at least some kind of small stipend. And so even if you're a stagehand, you might have a very small stipend, but it make you feel like there's value and you're worth something, if you know what I mean. And that evolved into further later shows like the one we've done at SOPAC. And then we've done some outreach too. Lauren and I and wonderful people like David Canner, our children, Alex, we all participated in an outreach group called Savoy Fair, which is a pun on Savoy Fair, of course. Savoy being the theater that Gilbert and Sullivan performed in London for so many years. So Savoy Fair was a great outreach group, and we take it out to libraries, we take it out to senior citizen residents. Sometimes we get to schools as well, some underprivileged locations where children underprivileged get to hear us. And so that's a great form of outreach too. And that's in keeping with what we want to do for younger people. A lot of our younger singers get a chance to perform in Savoy Fair and things like that. So I like to think over the years, and Lauren, I think you agree with me, that we've done a variety of things for a variety of people, but the core comes back to the love of the music and the kind of people you deal with, and that they're on your team. They love you too. So that's
and
kind
the
of
core comes back to passionate founders who dedicate themselves to pouring their heart and their soul into their work, which is obviously you too. Now I'm going to introduce the fourth member of the Beatles, Heath Weisberg. So Heath, how did you get involved with the Light Opera of New Jersey?
Sure. So I got involved about 5 years ago now as a member of the Board of Trustees. I, at the time, was doing a little bit of singing, but my background really isn't as a performer. And I wanted to help the group out. I had attended performances. I had sang a little bit with the group, but really, I thought there was so much potential in the Light Opera of New Jersey. It was right around that time that Bill was talking about when the group was transitioning from real light opera to Light Opera of New Jersey. The production values were where it really was a professional type productions, and I felt that we were on the verge of breaking out. So I joined the directors at the time, and since have become chair of the board, and we're in a really exciting time now for Light Opera. Bill and Lauren continue to do tremendous work with the group, though they have, where Bill has stepped down in his more formal role, and Lauren, and now they're on the board of trustees. They're still very active in the group, but it's a time of transition, and of course we grew on board Jason, which has been a tremendous part of that, and you've been a fantastic addition to the group, and so we're really excited about where things are right now and how we're moving forward.
Well, it's an exciting time indeed, and a bit of trivia. The first opera I ever conducted was in Summit. I did with the
Stony Hill Players.
Stony Hill Players. I did HMS Pinafore, and Bill was one of the Rafe Rackstraws. That was the first opera I ever conducted.
Back in the days when I could sing, right?
Bill, you were a fine singer. It was a fine, and you knew you knew every joke, and you knew every one of the traditions, and I learned a lot of those days. And I've gotten to. So I'm so blessed to come back and guest conduct on two of the productions. I did Così fan tutte, and I did Fledermaus right before COVID. And it was such a joy. You could you always I guest conduct a lot, and when I come in, I kind of look at the organization and the people who run it, and you can tell so much by just meeting the people. And there was such a warmth and such a generosity of spirit that it was really very special. And when the opportunity came up to work with Light Opera of New Jersey, I was really excited. And it's an exciting year indeed. So
we so appreciate your enthusiasm. I mean, that it's just infectious. So we're thrilled to have you at the helm.
When you say Bill stepped down, Bill and I are probably on the phone at least 20 times a day.
At least 20 times a week.
And I'm starting to learn. It takes a while.
Bill's only putting in 100 hours a week now. He used to put in 200 hours a week.
He does sleep once in a while, I think. I'm not sure.
You're the one that doesn't sleep.
So what was COVID like? And how did that affect the organization? Everyone knows that COVID was devastating for the arts. Tell us about COVID. I know the Light Opera of New Jersey had ambitious plans that were momentarily paused. Tell us what that was like, and how does Light Opera come back?
Let me just quick say one thing. We were in the midst of auditions for In the Heights. And the very last day of auditions, when all of the parts were chosen, that was like the last day that people were out. This was COVID time when the whole country shut down. And we got those auditions in. And we were so happy about it, and then we kept up feeling, oh, we can make this happen, we can keep going. And as so many companies did, they were hoping that we could get back into reality soon. That didn't happen, but we had the entire cast, the entire production team set, and I'll let Bill finish that story because it actually a happy ending.
Yeah, I guess a happy ending. The thing to probably tell you, Jason, is to backtrack just a little bit on the timeline. We talked about Operageous and these other cabarets and things we did. And about 2013, I think, is the year, Heath, we changed our name to Light Opera of New Jersey. It actually was Ridge Light Opera of New Jersey. We dropped the Ridge off, so now it's Light Opera of New Jersey, Incorporated. And a couple years after that, we were saying, gosh, we need to find some other directors other than Bill, which I directed all these little operas. And I said, yeah, so let's find somebody good to direct some musical theater pieces. And I thought of this fellow, Lauran. I said, let's ask Jeffrey Fiorello if he'll direct for us. And so I met him at the Broadway Diner in Summit one day, and we talked, and he was just vibrantly excited about doing a little night music with us. And that was the first of 5 shows he's directed, 5 years in a row. And he has been a tremendous asset to the company. He's built some really fine shows at SOPAC, Edwin Drood, Sweeney Todd, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and we did Ragtime this past year in 2019, rather. And so we thought, well, let's see, we're doing opera like Così fan tutte. What could be further opposite than Così fan tutte than In the Heights, which of course is very modern and has a lot of hip hop and so forth in it. So it's kind of neat because we have that diversity of what we can do across the way. But Lauran's point, I think, is well taken that we had to kind of put the brakes on things, didn't want to, but we have, had to stop pretty much and go into hibernation is the way we put it during COVID. Everybody frustrated. Our friends in Harmonium and other choral groups can't sing at all. And if you're a singer, it's like your life's blood. I've been singing all my life. I just live to sing all my entire life. But when you can't, it's like very, very stifling and very depressing in a way like that. But this year, because we're getting back into movement, and we can talk about our upcoming show in a minute, because I know Jason wants to talk about that. But we'll be doing In the Heights in the summer of 2022. And Jeffrey and others, part of the team, are being put back together now as well.
I think it's so exciting to come back with that plan. The movie just came out. It's a great time to do In the Heights. Lin-Manuel Miranda is the hottest name in musical theater. I'm so excited to bring that to the summer and to make that piece come alive, because I think it was a great choice and it's going to be very exciting.
I think so too.
I'll bring up our next show.
I thought you should. Please do, Jason. Go ahead.
So, I was just going to add, as tough as it was during COVID, we were able to take the opportunity to regroup a little bit. And that's when we were able to go and our time finding the right person to join us as the new executive director, to relook at our strategy for fundraising and grants and to raise some additional money so that we could come back even stronger. And so now that we're coming out of COVID, getting ready for our first performance, which I know you're going to talk about, we think that that it's just a really good time for us.
Yeah, we're really excited. I mean, our first concert in a year and a half. It doesn't seem possible how long we've been off the stage. Everyone, the entire industry, but now things are coming back, and it's a great time to come to a show and to on October 29th at Fellowship Cultural Arts Center at 6 p.m. There's going to be a beautiful fundraising concert called Light Night 2021, which is our gala concert for the year and a fundraiser, and it's going to feature some incredible singing, really great food, and everything in between. So I'll say a few words about the artists who are performing. We have
please do.
I'll go in voice part order. We've got a company member who's been part of the company for a long time, Chelsea Friedlander, who's a wonderful coloratura soprano and developing to a fine lyric. And she sung with the Nashville Opera. She sung with the St. Louis Winter Festival, among many others. But I think she started as a teenager, started studying with Lauran Corson, and then singing with light opera for most of her adult life growing up. And she's going to come back and sing some amazing music, and we're delighted to feature her as well. We're going to have Jacqueline Quirk, who is she was the lead in a chorus line on Broadway. She was also sung at Washington National Opera and has a lot of regional opera experience as well. We've got Laura Virella, who sang with LA Opera and other groups, and a fine mezzo-soprano, Puerto Rican born. We also have Ronald Naldi, who should be a stranger to no one in New Jersey. He's been over the Metropolitan Orchestra for over 30 years, singing roles, and he's sung with the Arena di Verona. He's sung all over Europe, and is a dear personal friend of mine. And he's someone Maestro Alfredo Silpini called a master of the Italian style. I've never heard him not sing a note that was just incredibly beautiful, and also a wonderful soul as well. I can't wait to introduce him to everybody. And we also have rising star baritone Sushan Kim, born in South Korea, and who's making a beautiful name for himself. He sings Don Giovanni and a lot of the dramatic baritone rep, and he's a rising star in the field. So, and they're all going to be accompanied by Karen Delavan, who's been working with our company, and we're really excited to have her. And it's just a wonderful mix of people and music and a celebration of what's possible and what's to come down the road. So I hope you come with us. Tickets are $100. We're going to put a link in the description, and we want to see you in the audience. So
actually,
bring a friend.
$125.
$125. Well,
yeah, that's right.
There we go. But it's going to be a beautiful night. I can't wait. I'm going to MC. Bill and Lauren's going to talk. Hopefully Heath will say a few words. But I can't wait to get back on the stage in exciting fashion.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And the Fellowship Cultural Arts Center is a really lovely place. Brand new theater, Mitchell and Ann Saminsky Theater, it's called. And we'll be performing in there. And also beforehand, we'll have some wonderful heavy hors d'oeuvres and cocktails and so forth as part of the package. We're also going to have just a few really high-level silent auction items for people to look at. A donation bowl, of course. And then we'll have what's called a wine poll, which is a fun way to get some good quality wine. So it's really going to be a good, fun evening. And we've done these before, but this is going to be extra special because we have Jason and all the great talent he's bringing in, which is going to make it very exciting. So I just can't wait. It's 2 weeks from tonight.
Very exciting. A shout out to Adrian Ostrander, who's joining us today. Welcome, Adrian. It's great to see some people, some artists and musicians. I know a fabulous percussionist and artist colleague. So it's always great to see people commenting on the side here. It makes me smile to see people I know.
Adrian goes back to the days when she was Adrian Wilcox, I believe, playing for Howard Vogel's concerts at Calvary Episcopal in Summit. So we've known her a long time. Nice to have you aboard.
So, what is it like now? We're gearing up also at the same time, like any opera company. We don't just do one show. We're working on multiple, contracts and workable productions. We got the summer production of In the Heights. We've got the winter production of La Boheme, Puccini's La Boheme. And I'm also very excited. We had our first round of auditions yesterday, and we have our second tomorrow. So we're hearing a lot of very talented singers from all over the region. And it's just so exciting to hear talent again after all the silence. I know that a lot of the singers are very emotional auditioning because this has been one of the first auditions back.
I agree. I could visibly see some of those singers just like pouring their heart out into that audition. It was such a release and a relief to be able to do that. It was great, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
It's so exciting. That's I've been in the business now for probably 25 years professionally. I've been conducting, and it never gets old. I love to hear the rising talent and to find the next singer and to make a production happen. That I can see in Lauren, you're in your eyes. You're so like you give so much of yourself when you're up there. And you never get old when you do music.
This is true.
My kids keep getting older, but I don't believe that I am.
Jason, we could say a little bit about our team too, if you have a second.
Please.
Let me go off on that a little bit. So when Lauren and I started way back before we were even originally at Opera Corson Studio, so we need some government here. We need to kind of put some things together, need some help, some board or something. So we had 4 or 5 people on the board. Made a big point in the beginning of not having any performers, because if you have a performer on the board, they're going to want to know why their Aunt Josephine and cousin Susie didn't get the part and that kind of thing. So we quickly learned that that was not the good thing to do. We'd rather integrate people who knew what we were doing into our board. And we created a board that did production for a number of years. Probably about 10 years ago, I think, Heath, I'm not wrong, we decided we needed to find more of an outlet for governing the financial part of the company. So we created a different board, a board of trustees. So our board of trustees, which Heath is the chair of, we sort of look over the finances of the company, the fundraising, that sort of thing. But we, unlike most companies, we have this other, we call it a board, we call it a production board. And the people on that production board are the ones that are the boots on the ground that get the thing really running and working correctly. Chris Zarevich is our chairperson, taking over from Joanna Hoodie Russell, who was tremendous in that position for many, many years. Amy Lou, Paige Porter, Ryder Foster, Tom Donlin, Beth Gleason, John Lamb, who's our webmaster, puts everything together. Rick Morley, who's also the minister of St. Mark's, and Terry Moses. And of course, most important perhaps is Lois Buser, who not only helped me direct music at St. Mark's for 15 years, the same place where we're based, St. Mark's in Basking Ridge, but also is our primary accompanist. And she does a tremendous job filling every need when we need somebody to play the piano. As a matter of fact, I think she's helping out at late night with some cocktail music in addition. Although in prior late nights, she's played on the stage right next to Karen Delavan and other tremendous pianists, including Mary Pinto, who's played our shows as well. And so we have a real diverse team out there. And our trustees have been very, very successful. Marilyn Nielsen, Heath, of course, David Simon, Mike Baruffi is our treasurer, and also Laura DeFelice and Laura Farmer are trustees on the current team. So I just want to rattle those names off because they're all very important to us, near and dear to our hearts. And you are getting to know them very rapidly, Jason, as you're starting off as our new executive director. So I think it's important for everybody to understand it's not just Lauran and I in the beginning, but it just got wider and wider, more and more people, and more depth, and frankly, more and more love for doing it. It comes right here, right in the heart. That's where the music lies. And I, as a guy, when I was a kid, my parents couldn't shut me up. I was singing all the time. I was just,
that doesn't surprise me at all.
It was just, you couldn't shut me up. But that's where it comes from.
Yeah, one of my favorite photos is a photo of my son, Alex, and my daughter, Julie, during a September song rehearsal. And Julie, 3, and Alex, 8, were underneath the table peering out. Alex was sitting with his hands this way, and Julie's watching, and they're totally engrossed in what's happening on stage. And I just said, look at how music influences us and influences others, and how they just soaked that in year after year. And it's true. It's just meaning.
Julie would come home singing the words to these songs that she didn't even know how to read practically at all. She didn't memorize. And then Alex has become quite a fine singer, going to Westminster Choir College and getting a degree there. And he's sung in many of our operas. He's also very successful in the barbershop world. In addition to that, being a great musician as he is, he was in a quartet that finished in the top 10 internationally in the barbershop world and Barbershop Harmony Society. So we have some other blood in the family that's musical. Didn't get it from me, they got it from Lauran, but it's
no.
But it kind of keeps my last thought, Jason, if I could just add this, that it's important for us as a company to reach to the younger singers and to be able to bring them along. A lot of this, many of our September song participants, Sarah Matsushima, Ethan Lynch, people like that, they were in middle school when they started with us. And then they worked up and up, and we gave them more solos and more things to do in September song. And now they're professional. Ethan's doing acting work all over the country, and Sarah's got her own songwriting routine that she does. So it's really exciting to see. We finished last year in 2019 with a pre-professional program, which Stan Dunn and I directed. And it was great to bring 5 young men and 5 young women to perform a September Song-like program with highlights from shows that we've done. and very, very meaningful. And watching these young singers become mature and becoming very professional over time. So that pre-professional program we did was very exciting. And that's in line with that's in line with our goals. It's not just us doing shows on our own, but it's sharing the wealth. And that's kind of a neat thing.
Well, that is nothing more exciting than watching young people just catch on fire, because that is the future of our art form. And this company has a history of really bringing great people. And I think that's really exciting as we go forward, is to find that young talent, give them their first couple chances at these roles, and to watch them grow and take off. Because, in my career, I've gotten to watch some of the singers I've worked with go straight to the Metropolitan and beyond. And, the talent is all around us. And there's a very few producing companies in this region left. We're a very, very important niche. And the young singers need the places to go to learn how to do these roles.
Right. Yeah, it's very important. We did a lot of understudy performances too, Jason. I think Lauran will concur that we'd have people understudy, and then we'd try to put on an understudies performance. So it wouldn't necessarily be in the mainstream of our advertising, but we would have a certain night where the understudies got to actually not just learn the role, but actually do the role in front of public. And the public may have consisted mostly of their friends and relatives, but still they got to perform it. They could put it on the resume because they did it. They did it with our company, so it's all legit. But that's another thing we've tried to do, to bring opportunities for other people who might not get to do anything. Then, let's learn the role and never get to do it. How depressing that is, right? So, and Lauran and I did a lot of it ourselves too when we were younger.
I was an assistant conductor for some great conductors. Those assistant credits were where I learned how to conduct. I watched great people work, and I took notes, and I carried scores around, and I would give comments. But now I just love to watch that process and to encourage the next generation. I've had some great assistant conductors now who are doing incredible things. So it's fun to watch talent grow. I'm a teacher. I've always been a teacher. When I met you, Bill, I was a high school teacher at Summit High School. I was there, and then I did my doctorate. But at my heart, I'm still that same teacher. I just love to work with young people, and I think Leonard Bernstein, being one of the greatest teachers of all time, he was a teacher. He was teaching people at the New York Philharmonic, and he loved doing the children's programs as much. And I think that we have so much to teach and so much to offer to the audiences of New Jersey. I really can't wait to get back and to work with you all to make some incredible art happen.
Good. So glad to hear that.
Thank you. Yes. So excited.
So anything, last words you have to say before we're going to send people the link and to send them to our Light Night and to our La Boheme productions in February at both Fellowship Village and SOPAC. And we have so many exciting things coming on. Where can people go to find out more about Light Opera of New Jersey?
Well, that's just kind of a loaded question, isn't it? No, I mean, well, we have a website. It's very easy to remember. It's LONJ, Light Opera New Jersey, LONJ.org. And on that great website, which our friend John Lamb, who's one of our production board people, designs and maintains, is our webmaster, you'll find easily the number thing under home is buy tickets. And in there, you'll be able to buy a ticket for Light Night and also for La Boheme as it becomes available.
Could people also make donations to the company there as well?
Well, gee, that's another good question. Great idea. Underneath buy tickets, there's another button for donate, which is real important. As you know, you can't make this kind of art just on ticket sales alone. So we need donors, we need vendors, we need grants, we need people to support us. And I think that I think Lauran probably would make one concluding remark. Tell me if you agree, Lauran. But we went from Corson Studios to Ridgelight Opera, 2013 to Light Opera New Jersey. And now with you, Jason, all flattery aside, we're taking the next step up. Okay, the production values are going to increase and be better. Stronger connections and people that your colleagues. But also, I think we're just in the next stage. I think Heath would agree too, right, Heath? I mean, this is an exciting time for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very exciting time for us. Having Jason on board has really elevated the level of the talent that we've been able to bring in, and we're just really can't wait for the productions to begin again.
It's time. It's so exciting to work with you and to feel the energy of the company. And you always have to know the legacy of a group you come into. You have to know the people and the legacy. Like you said, Bill and Lauran, it's not any one person. As a conductor, everyone sees the conductor. I tell my students that at Seton Hall that it's like an iceberg. The conductor, everyone sees the top of the iceberg, but 90% of what I do is study music at 2 a.m. I mean, that's most of what I do. And I organize rehearsals and I do budgets 90% of the time. So It's with an opera company, it's the people and the volunteers and the board and the cast. There's so many moving parts, and that's what makes an opera company special. Is all the moving parts.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Closing
Here,
remarks,
here.
Heath.
We've got a tremendous group of people, as you said, and we just can't wait to get singing again, back on stage. So come to Light Night, come see La Boheme, and we'll look forward to seeing you there.
And closing remarks, Lauran.
Come see us. We're so excited. We're excited to introduce Jason to everyone and get this ball rolling. And I look forward to tomorrow's auditions and get that baby cast.
Get that moving. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Please check out the Light Opera in New Jersey's Light Night 2021, October 29th at 6 o'clock at the Fellowship Cultural Arts Center. You're going to want to be there. It's going to be very special. Check out their website at www.lonj.org. Thank you for joining us on Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Please remember to subscribe and smash that bell icon. We've got shows all weekend. Check us out. And remember, to see our past 210 episodes, check out our website at www.jasontram.net. Thank you so much. And remember, keep music alive.